Nigeria and the United States to deepen collaboration in the fight against insecurity. In Rivers State, the face-off between the legislature and the executive has seen some telling contributions from the third arm of government, the judiciary. How will the key characters proceed? In the FCT, the council polls are close. There's a conversation with the resident electoral commissioner whose performance will set the template for other key elections later in the year. These are more on our lineup. I'm Fisai Ogunfuyi. This is Political Update. Welcome. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says he will continue to partner with the federal government on national issues in the interest of Nigerians. Governor Makinde and his counterpart from Plateau State, Caleb Mutwang, were in the presidential villa to visit President Bola Tinubu. The separate meetings with the president were behind closed doors. However, in a chat with our correspondent, Musbah Dawahab, Governor Makinde, who has been in the news for his recent comments on political matters, says his meeting with the president was basically on national issues.
Yeah, is a project that, all Nigerians must be concerned about, welfare of our people, what are the governance issues, this issue of insecurity, poverty alleviation. I mean, there are things that has no coloration of a party as leaders, whether president or governor of a state. Those are things that we have to work together, consult with one another, and ensure that we can make life one shade better for our people.
Sure, Your Excellency, but recently some of your colleagues in the PDP have moved on to the other party, which is APC. Mm-hmm. Are you considering this at all? No, I'm comfortable in the PDP. And again, we may have issues in this country where you need a bipartisan approach, where it won't be an issue of maybe APC talking alone or PDP talking alone, where we will have to look at what is the best foot forward, in the interest of our nation. So when you get to that junction, you need everybody on board.
All right, it's getting interesting. Of course, the political season is here already. But let's look at some security issues. Now, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has emphasized that the protection of citizens across religious and ethnic lines remain paramount, stressing that Nigeria is committed to ensuring freedom of belief and peaceful coexistence. He said that these are the high-level working group meeting between the Nigerian government and U.S. representatives.
We call for the government to work with local authorities to find and secure the release of the innocent victims, and to work with NGOs to meet the victims' families' needs in the meantime. Advancing religious freedom and security will help the United States and Nigeria to enhance the reciprocal benefits of our relationship, solidifying trade and economic deals, degrading terrorist groups.
This protection of all citizens, Christians, Muslims, and those of other beliefs is non-negotiable. Violence framed along religious lines is treated as an attack on the Nigerian state itself. Our response, therefore, integrates security operations, rule of law, humanitarian safeguards, and strategic communication, ensuring that operational successes translate into public confidence.
Indeed, this cooperation has translated into very tangible operational gains. It has enhanced our intelligence sharing. It has also brought about closer coordination between the United States of America, AFRICOM, and Nigeria's military.
All right, let's now come to the FCT. The Center for Transparency Advocacy, CTA, and Election Observer Group has commenced a citizen sensitization and enlightenment education program for voters in the Federal Capital Territory ahead of its area council polls.
The program, which kick-started in Buhari Area Council, had support from the Independent National Electoral Commission and aimed at informing the voters in the area of the right values during the February 2026 poll in the FCT, and importantly, the need for citizens to collect their permanent voter cards scheduled for distribution by INEC ahead of the election. The Voter Enlightenment and Education Program focused on key areas as voter participation, a non-violent approach to elections, and rejection of any illegality that may impede the electoral processes from taking place in the various polling units.
It is important that citizens know that they play a vital role in the electoral value chain, especially when it comes to elections. February 21 is a date for the FCT, and citizens must be aware so that they can go out to vote and exercise their right to vote.
The CTA team was earlier in the palace of the Esu of Buhari, Alhaji Ibrahim Yaro, where he assured of citizens' readiness to participate actively in all electoral processes ahead of the area council's election.
And talking about the FCT polls, which is less than a month away, we had the FCT INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in our studio earlier to provide key information on the exercise. Take a listen. All right, the first election for the year 2026, the FCC Council election, is just about a month away. Incidentally, it is the only council polls conducted by the National Election Management Body, INEC. Some say its success could form the platform for the off-season governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun states later in the year. Joining us in the studio is the man at the center of it all, INEC FCT Resident Electoral Commissioner, who is the umpire for this one, Malam Aminu Kasimu Idris. Thank you for joining us on Police Updates. Thank you very much. I know that we are privileged to have you taking time out of what has been a busy schedule. But tell us what is happening as today, the state of play. You have displayed the register of voters, and we can see all what the judiciary has also done as part of the ancillary services as far as this election is concerned. But what are the next steps now?
Thank you very much. As you have shown in your report, we have issued the register of voters to political parties. The next stage is to release the PVC to those voters that are registered newly, that don't have PVC. The PVCs are ready, and we are going to distribute them at the RA level, starting from Thursday to Monday, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So all those who have registered during the period of the CVR, their PVC is ready, and they can go for collection starting from this Thursday.
Okay, and then let's look at what has been happening in terms of your interaction with the political parties. We saw a lot of them endorsing you, but you are not also a friend to some. How has this milieu been resolved?
We are managing our relationship very well with political parties. You know that an endorsement today will be a condemnation tomorrow with political parties. So we work hard to try to live according to the rules of the game. That is the Electoral Act, INEC guidelines. We carry them alone. That is why some of them are aware of each step we take. We inform them where the law says we should do this, and we are doing it. And we explain all our processes with them. Not just political parties, but other stakeholders. We have visited almost not all the area councils, and we have met with a lot of traditional rulers, tried to brief them on our activities, so that on the day of our activity, which is the 21st of February, there will be peaceful conduct and people will do what they're supposed to do.
In terms of sensitization of voters, in other climes, this is under the purview of what political parties should be doing. But INEC, over time, having seen the low voter turnouts year in, year out, or election cycle after election cycle, INEC has taken that also on to make sure that the Nigerian voter is interested in the process. In terms of your interaction with the people, prospective voters, and some of the sensitization that you have carried out as INEC in the FCT, what has the response been like? And are we seeing the people enthusiastic, especially knowing that this one that you are conducting is the lowest tier to the people?
Yeah, that is why we have engaged with a lot of civil society organizations. As we are talking now, some civil society organizations engaged by INEC are working at the area councils. They are doing meeting with stakeholders, encouraging people to understand the process, understand what is required of them in the conduct of election. So INEC's role is to make the process virtually known to everybody, so that knowledge will encourage people to participate more. The political parties also have responsibility to activate voters because they are coming to vote for them. They should also play their role properly.
All right, but let's look at FCT and its spread. We saw that over over 1 million voters expected to participate in this one. But looking at, you know, in terms of the geography itself, a lot of people just see these shiny, lovely streets of the central part of Abuja and think that is all the FCT. But I know that you share borders with a lot of states, and sometimes there are some places that are hard to access. Yeah. In terms of the logistical planning for this, what has been done, and have you rigorously captured all those areas that sometimes when we are waiting for the vote from those areas, sometimes it can take some time?
Yeah, I must confess that I was one of those people that used to see the shiny areas of Abuja and think that is the FCT. But having gone round as REC, I've gone to area councils who have seen some locations that even I have not reached. But on election day, INEC must be there. There are difficult areas that are close to the border with Kogi State, with Niger State, which has to be covered. Like, for example, during the CVR exercise, we had to make special arrangements to get our people to certain locations to allow people to register. And this same arrangement, we'll try and do it again when we're distributing the PVC. So there are very difficult areas to reach in the FCT. They present logistic challenges, which we are working on seriously, even now. Just last week, we had a meeting with the Road Workers Union, Road Transport Union. And we're trying to make it a very seamless, efficient process so that people will not see any hiccups in terms of deployment and in terms of retrieving our results once the election is over.
All right, let's just look at the timelines for the day. Yeah. What are we expecting on the day of the election itself? Votes will open, the voters are expected at so time, and let me leave it to the REC.
Yes, on election day, INEC's internal arrangement is to have our officers at the PU by 7 a.m. So we start movement from 5:30, 6 a.m., make sure that by 7 a.m. our officers are at the polling units. Voting itself starts at 8:30 a.m. And by 8:30, I think we'll be ready to receive voters and process voters efficiently, all the way till the close of polls in the afternoon. And then we start the process of counting, sorting and counting and declaration at the PU level. And of course, this is a local council election, so all the 62 councillor elections will be declared at the council level. The local government chairman, the 6th council chairman election will be declared at the local government area office of the commission.
All right, so you are on how many, you know, in terms of number of staff deployed for this, can you share with us? So the numbers, you know, as just we have seen, the number of voters they will be covering. So what are we expecting?
We should expect over 7,000 officials that we're looking for. As you know, we have opened a portal to get people to sign off, to volunteer, aside from the normal arrangement we do with the NYC. So we are working, we are closing the portal, I think, tomorrow, and then we'll now work on the shortfall if we have any shortfalls. But as at last week, when we looked at the portal, we have not yet received sufficient people that will work on the election day.
All right, perhaps maybe not to be talking tongue in cheek, but perhaps if the remuneration or the allowances are put first, you might see not more people come out for those ones. But let's move away from that very quickly and look at the political parties. I said just briefly at the beginning of the discussion that you might be friends to some and not friends to others. What is the position of the Labour Party at this time, and are their candidates going to participate in this one?
Well, you know, the issue is in court. The commission handles this at the headquarters level. At the FCT level, I can confirm to you that during the primaries, Labour Party did not conduct the primaries, or we didn't monitor the primaries, because they were having these issues with court, saying, no, this is the leadership, no, this is the leadership. So the commission was not able to process their notifications and for us to go and monitor. So we didn't monitor. But it's without prejudice to what they have told the court and what the court is going to decide.
We saw that voters register. For those who are because this is to a large extent, a lot of civil servants are here in the FCT, and many have just been transferred in the past few months. Those who have made requests for their voters card to come to the FCT, would they be able to participate in this?
Yes, actually, they're all part of the people being issued PVCs now. we had quite a number of, let me check the statistics and just give you correct numbers. The numbers of voters that have transferred into FCT and transferred out of FCT. The total number of voters that have newly registered is 102,307. And then we have those that have transfers out of FCT is 8,476. And then we have those who transferred into FCT, 775. So there are more people who transferred out than came in. But still, that is, if we combine that with the registered, or the new registers, that is how come we got the 102,307 newly registered voters. That is a sign from those who just transferred their
Many thanks for this session. We've been with our guest, Malam Aminu Kasimu Idris, is the INEC FCT Resident Electoral Commissioner. In 1 month, it will be the day of truth, and you will be officiating, talking about, as the umpire overseeing the elections. On a personal note, how do you feel? Are there butterflies?
Well, we have experienced this a lot. INEC has experienced conducting elections. We are expecting some of the challenges, we expect them, and we are working on them. Security-wise, we are doing a security meeting tomorrow with the Commissioner of Police and other security agencies. We have mapping out areas of challenge, and transportation, a challenge, we are addressing it. So most of those places, from experience that we have had challenge, we are trying to address it now and show the efficiency of the FCT INEC.
All right. I spoke to one of your colleagues some years ago, and she was conducting her first election. She said sometimes she even sees the elections in her dreams. Anyway. To other matters, the Rivers Chief Judge Justice Simeon Amadi has declined the State House of Assembly's request to probe Governor Similaye Fubara and Deputy Governor Professor Ngozi Odu. This is contained in the letter personally signed by him and addressed to the Speaker, Rivers State House of Assembly, Martin Amaewule. The State Chief Judge, in a letter, acknowledged the receipt of the House resolution requesting him to set up a 7-man panel against Governor Similaye Fubara, but stated that he is restrained by the subsisting court order. He also cited an appeal by the Speaker, that is Martin Amaewule, which has been lodged against the said interim order at the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt. Now, joining us to discuss this further very quickly is a legal practitioner, Victor Giwa. Looking at what has happened, you are the lawyers. How do we proceed? That would be my first question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, to proceed, the Chief Judge has written to the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, of Rivers State House of Assembly, and he has stated that he has been restrained by the court. I was in a similar program 2 days ago, and I informed the general public that the law allows any of the party to contest certain level under Section 188 of the 1999 Constitution. For example, they went to court to tell the Chief Judge, to restrain the Chief Judge from going ahead to setting up the panel. And at this point, what the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly should do is either to approach the court, challenge that order, set aside the order restraining the Chief Judge, or, like I think they have said, appeal that order. So until that order is appealed against, they cannot proceed from there.
Some will say this drama has taken in all 3 arms of government. For you in the legal profession, is giving you new bodies of work.
Well, well, that is what that has been the general perception of when you have this kind of litigation. But these are politicians, and they have a way of bringing crisis into the state and getting everybody involved. But we are, as legal practitioners, we are more interested in having peace and the dividends of democracy than getting ourselves engaged with constitutional or legalists. So I think that whoever is performing any role, whether it's the Rivers State as members of the Rivers State House of Assembly or the governor, they must conduct their affairs according to the law and not heat up the politics.
Apart from being a lawyer as a Nigerian, how do you see this panning out? Very quickly.
Well, it's a bit, generally I'm a bit uncomfortable. I think that what the people of Rivers State deserve is governance. And you know, the story of Rivers State has been a recurring decimal. I heard one of your journalists saying that in Rivers State it is every day with a new trouble. So you wake up in the morning, you get new trouble. You wake up the next day, it is a new trouble. So trouble every morning, you know, that's what you get in Rivers State. And I don't think any state and Nigerians deserve that kind of information, or deserve that kind of news. The kind of news Nigerians, and indeed the indigenes of Rivers State, is stories about development, stories about peace, stories about progress, stories about things that will better their welfare.
Victor Giwa, thank you. Short but very concise. Thank you for your intervention today. They may have read a book we read those days when we were in secondary school and we had to pass literature in 1 week, one trouble. Let's move quickly before we go. The African Democratic Congress in Adamawa State has inaugurated some state executive members to fill vacant positions. Let's take that report before we close shop.
African Democratic Congress, ADC.
The African Democratic Congress, ADC, in Adamawa State said it is prepared to work as a team to strengthen the vision and mission of the party by uniting its members towards achieving a shared collective success with a common goal. At the swearing ceremony of some state executive which drew members from the Lord and local and state levels, the state chairman of ADC, Shehu Yona, reiterated the party's resolve to carry everyone along in the task of building the party for victory ahead of the future elections. Speakers on the occasion called on its members to ensure grassroots mobilization to enable people register with the party for a formidable opposition with a manifesto that will meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people.
For harmonizing us today and for giving me the privilege to serve as the organizing secretary of the party. I believe with the cooperation of others, with collective responsibility of all and sundry, definitely we are going to the promised land.
By the special grace of God, we are going to win all elections.
The 44 executive members of African Democratic Party in Adamawa State are expected to chart a way for the common goal of the party.
All right, on that note, we conclude political updates for today. I will be keeping an eye on all the elections, first starting with the FCT elections, as you saw the rec earlier in the program, of course, and the off-season governorship elections in Ekiti and Osun State later in the year. Of course, it's a one-stop shop for all political stories, news, reviews, previews, and interviews, so keep it locked on Nigerian Television Authority. Between now and when we see you again, do play your politics for the greater good. Bye-bye now.